What's up, brothers and sisters? Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Let's dig into what's happening in the stock market and what stocks to play tomorrow, including taking a look at some of these earnings that have been coming out, like the Meta Nation and Google, and really kind of gauging what these reactions are and what they mean. So the market stalled out today. We gapped down and we kind of trended down a good chunk of the day. There were some fits and starts where, we thought maybe the market could take a run, and nothing came to fruition. It ended up being pretty much a trend down day where you kind of made a higher low or lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, throughout the day, and ended up being kind of a trend down day, which was a little bit surprising to me because we had such a big day the previous day. I guess that can happen sometimes when you're just stuck inside range. The reaction to some of these earnings was not good. Meta, AMD trended down a good chunk of the day. Dude, even Google, had the gap up, and then you got a reversal candle on it. It kind of faded off. Look at this thing. Like, it had this nice little pop for a second, but then, dude, it filled basically its damn gap. That's not the reaction that you want to see. So you had AMD, you had, all of these things kind of going down. And then, on top of that, right, even the spec stocks that had been running for a while, right, your SMAR rolled over. We took a short in Oklo in the morning, did pretty good on it, on the gap up, and then, right, this thing rolled over pretty much all day. I, of course, covered like where the green spot was and missed all the rest of it because I'm a piker. But, hey, man, pikers need love too, baby. Squeeze them. We have this kind of nastiness that's happening. And now we've got the Meta Nation, right? So we got the Meta Nation. And the Meta Nation, at one point was down, 40 points or whatever it might be. And then now it's kind of like making its way back a little bit because it tested into the 50-day moving average. So this is a little bit, I think, tricky, right? So this becomes a little bit tricky because this was kind of, right, a little bit of a ringleader. So we're having a little bit of a mixed bag on earnings. AMD was down, the Google. I would consider this a damn red day because it faded off almost the whole thing. So that's not, I don't think that's really bullish. We have to kind of be mindful, of these things. And you can see here, Microsoft getting shamangled here, right? I wouldn't say shamangled. That's a little bit, right, hyperbole. But we are like kind of, right, selling up. And it doesn't the end of the world, no. But what it does is it keeps us in this big kind of nasty range that we've been in for quite some time. Like, look at this, Microsoft's been in range for a long time, right? And if you look at Google, right, we've been in this range for a long time. And if you look at AMD, right, we've been in this, right, big range for a long time. And so, some of that is leading to, the market not breaking out because, in these past few years, these have been the ringleader and really attributed to most of the rise of, the market. And what we haven't seen yet is that rotation into kind of the new big hot steamed stocks that are turned into mega caps or large caps, right? Of course we have some hot bombers, right, like CVNA and stuff. But this is, not like necessarily a mega cap, right? And it's making its way there. But, so where the attention needs to be, I think, is probably on some of these names that, people are just not talking about because that's where the good earnings reactions have been, right? And so, forget some of these big guys. There's just not much going on in them, right? And then, of course, today we had the SMCI news too, and this got this thing breaking down to it, and it looks like, we're probably going to come back and retrace, quite a bit of last year's gains. And so this is a leave alone for a period of time. And it was a little bit of a tricky trade. There was one good setup in it. But beyond that, there wasn't, much. It was a little bit of just a bleeder for most of the day. So a mixed bag here, right? Besides Tesla, none of these things have reacted, very well. And Tesla's, kind of stuck at a little bit of resistance here, and we pulled back slightly, but still, this looks probably primed for a bounce. So, moral of the story is, I think you want to really kind of focus in on these names that have just a little bit of, right? They just have a little bit different profile than the mega caps, right? Like like this Reddit, right? Like this is up 40% today. That's where you want to be focused in at, right? Like, like even these kind of companies like Nerds, right? This company had its earnings out, and right, you got this nice follow through. OMCL, right? Nothing sexy. They barely even do any volume, right? It's, but it does enough volume. And they're clean breakouts. And so this is where the focus needs to be. And, you see something like this rally for tomorrow. You're clearing out all these ranges to the side. That's what we want to day trade. Garmin, if you look left, right, you're clearing out all of this range here, right? This is an earnings winner. Dude, like this is where we need to be, right? So I want to put all these on watch for day 2. I would abstain from swing trading for the next few days because it seems like things are just selling off. So let's just be mindful of that, right? CVNA will be in play tomorrow. Dude, this thing was a couple bucks, right? And, good Lord. But here we are, right? It keeps going. A Lemonade, right? A little insurance company. Dude, this got a nice range to it. So let's add this to the watch list, right? And these are all just for day trades. They're already up a lot, so you can't chase them. You got to wait for an intraday setup, a ORB, a quick pullback buy, right? Something along that end, right? Well, what's an ORB? Well, an ORB is like just an opening range breakout. So say something you have here like a shack, and you gap up here, right? You need minimum 3 candles on a 5-minute chart. Don't be doing those 1-minute charts like some degenerate. Right? Do a 5-minute chart and max 2 minutes you can go. Don't do 1-minute charts. I mean, unless you just want to be like just, ping-ponging around for pennies. So that's what an opening range breakout is. So all of these are on watch tomorrow. Snap had a good push on this thing. Never fucking moves, right? So you have some good range on it. I think these are the plays that you want to be in, right? DRS. Right, look at this SW. This IPO breakout here is up 12%, 8 million shares in volume. Like, I want to be a part of this, right? Like, this is, you could get some size in it. It's got enough volume. It's got enough liquidity in it. This is, top of the list for me tomorrow. So you got all these kind of names, XPO. Even old Compass is, if you want a small bomber. This thing is popping after hours and coming out of this range here. You got some upside into 7. If you look left, right, you've got kind of a bigger Nike swoosh pattern going through. Dude, that's a good look, right? So all of these, this is, these are the kind of plays you want to do. Do a scan for earnings tomorrow. Any single one that's breaking out of some multi-month ranges, those are essentially going to be your day trade opportunities. Then you could do day 2 on the ones that are already moving right now. I think that's probably where you want to go. Like, look at all this shit. VMC. I mean, these are like huge breakouts. They're unknown, right? Like, they're not talked about because people only want to talk about and jerk off, Tesla all day. Hey, let me, rub and tug it on NVIDIA. While there's this whole a subset of the world going. Out of the big cap tech, probably the only one that looks decent is Dell. It did roll over a little bit into the close, but dude, look at this. Pops up, pulls back to the 9, right? Pulls back to the bone zone. Dude, that's where you want to go with this. Like, those are the kind of names that you want to do. Look at this go, right? We can do this for a day 2 play. 8 million shares. Breaking down here. Like, if this gaps up a little bit tomorrow, we can go green to red on this, and we're off to the races. So just kind of look at, there's all these kind of moves here. We want to be in the news business, the news play business for a while. Leave like the MUs and stuff alone. They're just all settling in to these like intergalactic monster cock ranges where it's like, what do you even do with this thing, right? But it looks like the devil's pattern right there is what it looks like, right? That looks like the devil's pattern right there. So, I don't know what else to tell you guys. The market I thought was about to rip. On second look, we have to be maybe a little bit more careful, because of the way Microsoft and Meta are acting. These, lame sevens go down, then we've got to move. And look, there's a whole host. Look at all these fucking stocks that we're going today, right? I apologize for the swearing. I'm a little bit annoyed with myself because, even I was staring at some of these stocks today. And there was a whole host of other stocks that I could have been really hammering. I should have kept shorting Oklo, and right, like DJT rolled over. And so there was some good cheddars coming in. There was a deflation happening. And guys, be careful tomorrow. Coin also has its earnings out, right? Not much action on here. MSTR, it rebounded on its earnings, but they didn't look like anything. Well, not that matters, but it's like loss widens, revenues decline, share slump. Share slump, and here you go, right? But it kind of rebounded pretty much. It was down quite a bit for a while. It looks like, if I can gather this correctly, is they're doing some kind of big dilution or raising monies to buy more Bitcoin. So this is just like basically turning into a leveraged Bitcoin ETF. We'll see what happens with this tomorrow. But I would add Coin and Monster to the list too, and we'll see what's going down. Dude, a lot of interesting stuff happening. So, my moral of the story of some of this is that I think, focus in on some of these names that just maybe people aren't watching, right? Look at this root. This thing was, right, $10. It went to $80, and it's just got a tiny float here, and boom, this earnings comes out and go. Now, can you trade this thing up, 80%? Probably not. Right? But there are these other names going, right? So I'll be on tomorrow's what? Thursday? I believe it may be. So I'll be on the YouTubes tomorrow. I'll have a comprehensive earnings list. Dude, we're going to catch, the next ones of these. And there's all these day two plays you can do on Reddit. Look at this, like OMCL and some of these. Dude, that's a fucking good range. $10 right there. You want to be in these names, man. Screw what's happening with, AMD or Microsoft. Right? We want to be in these hot earnings plays. All right? I love you guys. Peace.